Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be going over a very, we'll call it like very meta team. So it's kind of, how to say it? It's like, it's basic, but it's not like, it's very good. And that's just what happens when you play Metamon. Everyone knows exactly how they work. That's what I mean by basic. And and since everyone knows how they work, they can also counter, I guess, or they know exactly when to do things. But the thing is, you also know when exactly to do things, and they're meta for a reason. So it's the strongest neutral mon in most situations out there. So the team is going to be Mantine in the front with Ice Beam. We'll talk about that in a second. And then in the back is going to be Ferrothorn. You guys knew I was going to make a Ferrothorn video. I love Ferrothorn. And then we're going to have Shadow Quagsire, the king of the meta, and really the king of this season, the one with the biggest increase in usage and, yeah, I guess, well, last season, I should say, increased usage from last season. So these games are going to be from a coaching session I did. So we're going to see exactly how the team works. Ice Beam in the front. So Ice Beam on Mantine, the reason I'm using, well, I didn't play this, but the reason I decided that Ice Beam was a good idea was this meta has a ton of Mandibuzz. So I was like, okay, we might as well have that super effective move for the Mandibuzz. Outside of that, really, Ice Beam and Water Pulse don't even do that much in this meta. You will see some Ice Beams in these games. I only remember one, but maybe we did more. But yeah, you almost are always just using Aerial Ace. It seems like even in the neutral matchups against Mantine, Aerial Ace is just better. If you have a high-ranking Mantine, really no reason to go Ice Beam in the mirror. No reason to go Ice Beam in neutral matchups. Aerial Ace is slightly better, I guess. I guess it's very similar, but yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the battles now. But first, if you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button. And let's go. Doesn't matter to any of y'all, but there is like a crazy hurricane happening here in Texas. I don't have internet right now, but luckily I already had, well, I guess I don't need internet, but I already had done some editing for this video, so that's good. All right, let's go into this one. So Quagsire, this is a pretty good matchup. The thing about Quagsire is that makes it really awkward is that it's actually got Stone Edge, which is going to be super effective, and Aerial Ace is going to take a long time to get through this. So we have to make a call whether or not we think that this is going to be a Stone Edge. And technically you do live one anyways, so some people really like to just take that first one. Going for the Ice Beam here for a possibility of KOing. This is already not the Ice Beam I thought of, so there is another Ice Beam somewhere. We end up trying to go for the catch on the Stone Edge here. They end up coming in with a Buzzwole. It's good to get this out here. If this was against Ferrothorn, obviously it would be horrific. And 2 Aqua Tails does KO, but they CMP to possibly a superpower here. We definitely don't want to shield. Want to save that shield for Ferrothorn. End up getting lunged, which attack drops us to where this Aqua Tail probably won't KO now, which is unfortunate, but I mean, we're still going to get this farm down. They're not going to get to another move. It actually takes Buzzwole a long time to get to its moves. 6 counters to get to that lunge. Yeah, and then we end up coming back in with the Quagsire, and now it's a question of, do we need to shield this? And again, we live one anyways, so we end up switching into Ferrothorn to get a little bit of a lead onto whatever's here in the back. Ends up being a Guzzlord. This is an awkward matchup as well, but it is slightly in favor of Guzzlord, even though we do resist all the dragon moves. It does have access to Crunch or Brutal Swing, whichever one it's deciding to run for its coverage move. Ends up being Brutal Swing here. I think most people go Crunch. It's going to take us 3 Grass Knots to KO this, and they have a shield, so it's going to take us 4 moves. But notice the clock's coming up also, and I think we're 1 wing attack away. And we did switch first, so if we ever get the opportunity to switch, we should take that. I think they're going to be about 1 or 2 seconds before their switch is up after we switch here for the combo play. And boom. That was weird. It kind of took over the screen there. I mean, I think someone in the comments said this. Dragons just take up your whole screen, so it can be a little awkward. Definitely going to let this go. Now, the one thing is Aqua Tail won't kill here, and they might get a farm down. But they actually are going to have to throw another move. They end up throwing on CMP. Perfect timing by our opponent. And they're going to have another Aqua Tail, but we'll definitely survive and probably get this farm down. It's a very close game here. I think we'll get the farm down. I think we're 2 bullet seeds away. Yeah, and then barely live, but crazy. All right, Pelipper against Mantine. This is very favored for Mantine. The only thing the Pelipper can do is go up to Hurricane and bait. And the way I described this, the way I described it is, while we have the same typings, they get to one of their moves very fast, Weather Wall Water, but we resist that, whereas we get to our fastest move, which is Aerial Ace, and that while it's not a great move, we get to our fastest move that is neutral much faster than they get to their fastest move that's neutral, which is literally 9 and 8 wing attacks. We end up getting both shields. I'm fine with this. Going to come in with Ferrothorn and farm down. Could even come in with something like Quagsire and farm down, but I think Quagsire is going to be very good here in the back. They end up having a Steelix. We're 1 turn ahead, or 1 full move ahead, rather, because we were able to farm down that Pelipper. So this matchup's really good for Ferrothorn. We're actually probably going to switch here because they're going for a debuff move since they went to 4. And we can definitely outpace to this Aqua Tail to the next move as well. And hope that it KOs. I think it's close if they're the Shadow. Okay, yeah, if they were Shadow, it would definitely KO. But this is also just going to be another Psychic Fangs. We don't really need to shield this. We still... Oh, it ends up being Crunch. Okay. Okay, they have an Empoleon here. 2 Aqua Tails, probably enough to KO this, along with the Mud Shots. It is a Shadow, so very frail mon indeed. And yeah, this... I'm pretty sure this... Well, they might live with 1 Mud Shot before dying. Oh, 2 Mud Shots. Yeah, and that's GG. Oh, they still have the Steelix. That's fine. Alright, Steelix in the front. So, while Mantine versus Steelix is not the worst matchup, we actually have such good matchups in the back that we're going to go for it. Now, notice they have a Poliwrath in the back. Both of our Mon in the back really hate to see Poliwrath, so they're both in the back to try to bait out a Poliwrath and hope that the other can sort of push that lead of not having to face a Poliwrath in the back to a good height here. Now, the opponent did shield. I think they maybe thought we had Mud Shot, and they wanted to make sure to shield the first one. Otherwise, they'd be in range for a double Mud Shot KO. And then the first one is obviously... well, they have Icy Wind, which can reduce our attack. The first one obviously would never be reduced because we were outpacing them there. I remember in this game I asked to farm all the way down, but it's okay either way. We end up losing CMP here, so this is definitely a mistake. But definitely good to learn from these mistakes. We talked about it after the game, what the game plan should have maybe been. And yeah, now we'll hopefully not have any of those mistakes in the future. They end up coming in with their Steelix again, and they stay in, which makes me think it's something like Quagsire in the back. They already had a Poliwrath in the back, so it makes sense to go like double water. Could even be a Mantine, and maybe they're scared of the energy that we have. They ended up going up to the Earthquake, but then they threw Breaking Swipe, so willing to shield the first one. They end up throwing right away again, which means they aren't at the Earthquake. And yes, it does end up being a Mantine here. We go for the Thunder, which basically one-shots the Mantine if they let it go through. They end up shielding. That's fine. We can let one move come off here. And, yeah, because just in case they do actually have Earthquake on the Steelix. But, yeah, we have a lot of HP on both of these Mon. We win CMP against Steelix with Ferrothorn. So if we get to this Power Whip at the same time that they get to a Breaking Swipe, we would be able to win CMP. Luckily, they did throw both of their moves right away, and they would take 4 Dragon Tails to get to the next one, and we only needed 3 Bullet Seeds. Jellicent, an awkward lead and an even awkwarder save swap. So we are just going to basically sacrifice Mantine here. We might try to go for a catch or something later. I'm not sure. Maybe we could even shield a Shadow Ball. To preserve the Mantine maybe, but I'm fine coming in the Mantine here and letting it go, or letting the Mantine go rather, and then maybe trying to farm up with a Ferrothorn. We go for the no shield here, hoping for a bait. They actually end up going straight Shadow Ball. Gonna come in Ferrothorn, try to farm down. I do remember this game, and while there are some mistakes here, we thought that we could go into a 2-shield Quagsire scenario and hope that the energy from this Ferrothorn would push Quagsire into a good spot. They end up having a Credilli in the back, kind of weird. Means that with this Ferrothorn being really good against this Credilli, it means that in the back could be another Quagsire or something that's also just as bad for us. This is just going to be a Rock Slide, so we're going to let it go. Obviously, we do resist this. But they end up switching here into a Mon that we are definitely not ready for. It ends up being Grand Bull. And they have 2 shields, and that's just not going to be good for us. A little bit of bad timing there. We talked about that after the game as well. But that timing didn't change anything in this game. We never had a chance here. This Grand Bull with 2 shields is just absolutely crushing us. And Ferrothorn would have been amazing in these games, or against this entire team. When I said there was a mistake we made earlier, maybe we should have shielded the Shadow Ball, but we couldn't have known the team also, so... Sometimes I say these are mistakes, but this is not necessarily a mistake. We just made a call, and the call was wrong. So, actually pretty close here. If we actually got that farm down, we would have been able to hit the Credilli with another Seed Bomb, and that, or rather a Power Whip, and that probably would have KO'd. Gonna let the Body Slam go here. We are at the Ice Beam, so we're kind of hoping that they'll shield. If they don't shield, maybe we can throw the second one right into it, and then... it's possible we could switch into Ferrothorn, which would be resisting a lot of things. But I also like actually just going down here. They'll decide whether or not they want to throw at the Ferrothorn now. And if they do bank, this Dragonair is pretty low. So they throw this resisted move. It's resisted no matter what it is. Dragonair doesn't learn any moves that are not resisted. And then they throw again, which is great for us. Again, resisted. Not taking too much damage here from the Dragon Breath either. And they end up switching into a Blaziken, and we swap into our Quagsire. Technically, we'll outpace no matter what, so they're going to get a shield here, or we're going to get a shield here, rather, and we can definitely get to this next Aqua Tail before they get to anything, even if there's a Blaze Kick. It actually takes Blaziken a long time to get to its moves. Blaziken seems like a really cool mon. I mean, it's cool just either way. But it's a very interesting mon to use in this meta. It's obviously really bad against all of the waters. Like, it literally has like no play against any of the waters that I can think of. Maybe Empoleon. It can beat Empoleon. But really bad against Quagsire. Really bad against Mantine. It's probably not even that good against Steelix because you're taking super effective from the Psychic Fangs, and you're so frail that that the Dragon Tails even do just a ton, right? I don't know. Shadow Blaziken's a thing, right? Our opponent left, so this game's over. GG's. All right, Ferrothorn lead. This is an awkward lead as well. It's kind of like the Jellicent. We have one thing in the back that's okay against this, but actually Ferrothorn is pretty good against our whole team, but in the same sense, most of our team is pretty good against Ferrothorn as well. So, again, neutral matchups. As long as we shield the Thunder, we're good. They end up throwing a Power Whip, boo-hoo, to us. And we're going to go for one more Wing Attack and then swap into the Ferrothorn and catch. Ooh, I'll close the door real quick. They end up coming with the DD. I think they're going to farm up a ton here. Sorry about that. But nothing really changed, right? We threw, well, they're about to throw a Power Whip. We're going to throw 2 Power Whips, which is close to KOing. I don't think it actually does KO, although this DD has taken a lot of Bullet Seed damage for what it's worth. Probably after this goes down... Oh, they actually shielded. That's pretty nice for us. Probably going to come in with Quagsire, maybe even go for shield. Yeah, the first Psycho Boost is a lot. Oh, we don't shield. The second Psycho Boost is really nothing. I did remember this game. We talked about this one afterwards as well. Definitely could have thrown the Aqua Tail at the beginning. Ended up not doing that, so then threw again there, and then they ended up having a Dunsparce here in the back. But you're about to see this game is pretty interesting still, even though it looks like we're very lost. They still have a move on their Ferrothorn. They still have a low HP DD, and they have this Dunsparce. But Dunsparce, even though it has good moves, super effective moves against this Mantine, it is really just not that powerful, right? Because they ended up throwing another move here. We're gonna let it go. We can farm down with Quagsire. They're really, if they got to another move like Drill Run, they would have thrown that and definitely KO'd us. But they end up coming with the Ferrothorn. They actually end up catching here on the DD. Great by them. A little bit of bad timing by us, but then we actually end up making it to another Aqua Tail, which is crazy. And this is actually CMP, I believe, because they thought they could get the shield in the one shot, or the 1 HP KO. But crazy game here. Mantine lead. So we did find out through some, well, I think even through this game actually, that our Mantine does lose CMP. We talked about this game afterwards. It is definitely better to just go straight Aerial Ace. No real reason to go Ice Beam here. Yeah, but we know we lose CMP. Technically, another Aerial Ace doesn't KO us. We could have thrown on not CMP, which we definitely should have. But I don't really want to use any shields. It's definitely going to be an Aerial Ace on their side. We can definitely go for another Aerial Ace, CMP them, and then try to farm down with Ferrothorn, which is something I would like to do. Also, they're going to end up dying here. We could just get Switch. And we're really basically hoping that Switch matters a lot here. That's kind of what we're saying, because we've thrown away a shield. Our Mantine's just going to be fodder for a little bit of energy by whoever comes in. And then we hope that we hard counter it with something we have in the back. So I like this style. They end up trying to farm us down with Mud Shot. They cannot. Now, they do have a lot of energy, and the thing we have to worry about is Mud Bomb. It still does a decent amount of damage to Ferrothorn, although we did get a shield back, which is nice, but at the cost of a lot of energy. So if this is Mud Bomb, we're in a little bit of a scary situation, but we're kind of going to be all in on our own Quagsire anyways. So I'm okay with kind of just letting these go. We have to throw in bad timing here, otherwise they're going to get to another move. And yeah, this will obviously one-shot. It's double super effective against the Quagsire being a water and ground type, and I think we're going to let this go. We do have it now in Aqua Tail range, which is nice. And they actually show that they do have Aqua Tail, which is kind of weird. But I don't know whether or not we win CMP or not, so it's risky to try to go for some sort of CMP. But we do have to throw before they get to the next move. They end up catching on Carbink. And now all we're thinking about is, okay, we need to leave this matchup with an Aqua Tail, so at all times we need to basically have two Aqua Tails. One that will end up KOing the Carbink, and one that will KO the Quagsire. We're going to let this move come through. We will shield, although technically probably could live this Rock Slide. Just want to get to two Aqua Tails, and we'll just... I don't think they have energy for a move. I think they're 2 away, if I remember from the game. But game ended up lagging, and I was like, oh, maybe that's on my end, because we were recording his battles. And no, he said it was happening on his end too. All right, Typhlosion is kind of horrific for this team. Thunder Punch being double super effective against the Mantine is not great, although, well, Typhlosion has a really high attack stat. I don't know if that one-shots, I kind of doubt it, but we do try to catch, and they actually try to catch as well. So we do want to throw before they throw, because I did notice that they did have a one-turn delay. They'll be at 6 here, but we'll be really close to our next move. So we can go 5. We definitely lose CMP, so we don't want to go to 6, which is their next move, and then we kind of have to hope that this KOs. And I think it will. We are using Shadow, and they're not. And we do have an Aqua Tail for whatever comes in. So ends up being a Poliwrath, so not too much really gained here for us, but information-wise, a lot gained, because now we have the Mantine against Poliwrath, but also we're like, where's the Ferrothorn going to go? So we decide to come in with Ferrothorn here, since the only way that we can get anything out of Ferrothorn, and technically Ferrothorn lives any moves that this does. Icy Wind is the worst move. Ends up having Power Up Punch, which is a little awkward, but yeah, definitely able to get to this Grass Knot, which is nice. They end up shielding. We do have a move already on Mantine, so going to be able to, since we already got that shield, now we can definitely take out this Poliwrath, and now we have a shield to survive this next Thunder Punch. And we're kind of just hoping that it's one away, which I'm pretty sure it is, so we can go for 2 and hope that this Aerial Ace KOs. It does have a fair amount of HP left still on the Typhlosion, but it is a very squishy mon, and it is Shadow, so... Steelix, again, all 3 of our mon have play against it, which is a nice thing. They end up having Ferrothorn, not nice, but we don't have much Mud Bomb, so it's really bad for us, but we do have a ton of energy, so we are going to be able to fire off at least 3 of these Aqua Tails, and maybe a 4th one is scary for them. They cannot farm us all the way down, I don't think, so if they do try something scary like that, maybe we get a shield, and we probably are going to end up coming in with our own Ferrothorn because we need to soak a lot of this energy up. I don't know if this cereal is still in production, but Ferrothorn's little, we'll call them feet or whatever on the ground, they look like Cookie Crisp. It's a cereal that was in the early 2000s when I was a kid, or maybe it was late 90s. But that's what it looks like to me every single time. So if I'm saying that and that does something to you, just let me know in the comments if you think that too. Or let me know if it's nothing like that and I'm going crazy. But that's what I see every time, especially with the shiny. Anyways, back to this. The Steelix ends up coming in, and this is kind of the matchup we want anyways, which is actually pretty scary because it makes me think that they have an answer to Mantine in the back. Because why else would they come into this matchup like this, right? This is kind of strange. They end up having Crunch. We're going to make it to a move, though. We're going to end up KOing this. And now we have 2 shields on Mantine. We're going to need 1 for the Ferrothorn. That's it for sure. And we're really going to just hope that Mantine is good against whatever's in the back. They end up switching into Ferrothorn. And this is very bad by this opponent. So now we're going to just go for the double shield and the farm down. Since we know it's going to be a perfect mirror match in the outside, then we don't have to do anything. We have a huge energy advantage in the mirror match. We throw right away just in case they get the 1-turn delay, which it seems like they did, to make sure to deny them a move. We ended up going Ice Beam here, so since we had a ton of energy, it changes things. Triple Aerial Ace is enough to KO with the wing attacks, but since we had a huge energy advantage, we want to go Ice Beam double Aerial Ace, and we're not going to get as much of the wing attacks that we would get in a normal matchup because this matchup is obviously skewed in a sort of way. And we're gonna end up taking this game. I think if the opponent stayed in with Mantine and forced us to do things there, that could have been a lot worse for us. All right, so yeah, that was a coaching session that I had done with one of my students, and I wanted to use a super meta team that you know the counts for things easily, and obviously it worked out. And again, meta is meta for a reason. That's really something you should be saying. Why are people not using these very crazy picks? And that's because the meta is easier with the meta Pokemon. Now, you can win with the other picks, and some people are winning easily with them because they use them a lot and they know the ins and outs. But the meta is a lot easier to use and will be very forgiving, I think. All right, if you like this video, hit the like button, thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video, and if you want to continue to support me, definitely click that subscribe button. You'll see any content coming out, and if you want another video on this same league for some more tips and tricks to other teams, check that video out right there, and I'll see you in the next one.